Hey guys, welcome to the TechIT Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Berger, and this is my co-host.
What's good, everyone? My name is Gregory, and today we're going to be going through the rundown of everything in the tech world and everything resided about it that has come up in recent weeks. Just keep you all informed as technology is the future and it will always keep emerging.
Cool. Right on. Have you been up to anything fun this week, Greg?
I've been calming down a bit, just trying to de-stress after starting my job last week
Right
down
on.
down in just less than 20 minutes from my house. And I've just been trying to just get back in the thick of things as everything reopens, and get acquainted with everything again now that ever since I graduated last month as well.
Respectable. I've been doing about the same. Of course, I'm chilling in Florida right now, and the weather down here is pretty beautiful. So I'm enjoying the sun and the pool and all that stuff. And I'm
Hmm.
excited to see things getting just opening up again. Like I heard a lot of the restrictions have been lifted in a lot of different areas. I heard was it not Florida, in California? There's like I think they lifted all restrictions except for on like huge social gatherings. So that's really exciting. So let's go right into tech news with our first story, which is um, it's the NPR story. One hack to fool them all, which is a really interesting story. Um, so if you guys want to read about that or listen to it, it's over on NPR. Just search one hack to fool them all. And this is what's the name of the company? Is it SolarWinds?
Solar Winds is the
Yeah.
company, and for those who are unaware, the piece is about how a backdoor into I'm talking 120 plus organizations, including the Department of Justice, got breached back in September.
Yeah, that was a big one. And just listening to it, it's kind of crazy how they looked at the supply chain and they just came into the supply chain. Um, they didn't have to open the back door. It seems like they left it open. Uh, some one of the they weren't sure exactly where the code came from that left it open, but I think what they did is they outsourced a lot of the different coding parts, a lot of the different uh, builds to different countries, and someone got a hold of it that wasn't supposed to get a hold of it, or someone left it open, and uh, stuff stuff was left open that shouldn't have been.
Yeah, because it was actually just my last semester at Kent State where I had a professor, Dr. Pratim Datta, completely brilliant guy. He had us go through his case study on this very topic, where it went through the vulnerabilities of not having a least privileged environment or zero trust environment in a company in terms of IT resources and what that can do. As while this was an escalated and very, very researched and thought out attack, as they were planning this for months before September and before even us in America found out about it by late December, January,
I remember
where such
them mentioning
tactics can fail
that.
so much.
I'm sorry. I remember them mentioning that it was mostly a spy tactic from Russia, right? That they were just trying to get information um through this attack, just recording all their information from whatever it be emails. It's just management software for their IT departments, right?
Yeah.
And this allowed them to access emails and uh there could have been like attachments in those emails that they didn't want them to see, and uh, overall, this is just I don't know. I wouldn't say lazy. I don't know. Just I feel like the right work wasn't put into finding the safest route of the software. I think we need to look into not just the cheapest option, which I think what they were going for here is the cheapest option, but also the safest option. Because I think that's when you're building something, you're looking up for safe. It's kind of like a balancing act, right, between safe and cheap. So I think moving forward, there we need to look for safety above all else, because you never know who's going to be using your platform. You never know who's going to be using your software.
Precisely, and like I said before, I believe the zero trust structure has to be enacted, which I actually commend our current president for trying to enact that currently in the federal and oil and gas pipeline industry after the Colonial Pipeline hack of just last month. As just a couple of notes I want to end on this story on before we go further is that I encourage you all, if you're interested to hear more about this story and this outline of what I gathered from again my professor Dr. Pratim Datta is on. You can find this case study on Amazon.com for $3.99 or $4.99. I think it's $3.99 right now still, where it outlines the nature of how this actually happened and unfolded, as a lot of measures were just writings on the wall in terms of how this happened, from the password being a non-secure short password, literally just SolarWinds123. I'm not kidding. That's what the password was to get through
Oh my
everything.
gosh! Always change the default passwords.
Alongside
This was a default
more.
password, right? That came with the software or whatever.
Yeah, and it took them 3 weeks to update the server
Oh
password
my
because that
gosh!
was the blanket server update password. Alongside other things, I don't want to spoil the whole case study in case more of you
Right,
want to watch or not
read or
watch,
listen or
read it.
whatever.
Be it you get the audiobook version or the print version online or in person.
Okay, yeah.
As
Well, let's.
they put like it's essentially a matter with the amount of growth that's present with the ransomware attacks in current space we're in right now. So that was just one example, and that was all the way back just like 2019, 2020.
Well, speaking of ransomware, let's move on to our next story about the JBS hijack. They used ransomware and that's a meat packaging company, right?
Yes, is a meat packing processing company, and it's originated in Brazil, and it has multiple facilities and plants across multiple countries, and is proclaimed to be one of the top five reliable public processors for us. While the details for it are still not completely intact about this, the
So we don't know everything yet because they haven't released a lot to the public.
because
Right.
spokespersons have refused to comment on the cyber attacks themselves. The most they've said is that everything's good right now regarding their systems,
Well, that's
and
good. It's good that they're
that's
back up and running because that could be a big profit loss for them. And I mean, I can't complain about having some steak, good stuff. Um, let's see. Okay, so it says here 47 facilities across Australia. Yeah, that's a lot more than I thought.
because we were already felt a lot through the pandemic with the meat shortages that were happening across, I believe, I don't remember the brand, but I know there was an outbreak of COVID at the Tyson plant in Illinois. Like, I believe over 900, 800 people.
I think that was fairly common too with a lot of plants. I think once someone got it, it spread pretty quickly.
Yeah,
Um, but speaking of shortages, let's move on to the next shortage that we have is the chip shortage and how it threatens restaurant services.
very, to a very great degree indeed. Because, I mean, as like generations grow and grow, they're moving more towards digital payment.
Now, are you a fan of digital payment? Is that something that you would prefer? Would you rather have a server, or would you rather have like a tablet or something there, or like the QR code that some restaurants have where you go up and scan it and you order from there?
Well, I would say in all that I believe it's good to just keep evolving and innovating as we've had with many things.
I
But at the
think
same time, the current state with everything is still very, very minimal, where you can go to, let's say, a Panini's or an Applebee's, and there's just a tablet sitting there for, like the kid to order, and it just shouts out a thing that says, your order's ready, or when's your order ready?
I feel you. I think I would prefer the tablet or the QR code. I think the QR code would be the best because already everybody already has a phone, right? Or
Yeah,
most people, I would say probably what 99% of people have a phone. So why should the restaurant pay more money to have a tablet? You know what I mean? I think that's gonna just increase the price that they would have to, they'd have to buy the tablet, then set up the tablet and replace them if they get broken. So if you have your own phone, just scan the QR code or order from there,
yeah,
and they'll
yeah.
know what table because it's on the QR code, right? Or at least, I mean, that's how I assume is. I don't think I've done one in a while, but this seems like the best way to go about things. So this chip shortage, I feel like there's a workaround for it, but I do understand some of the points that I read in this article about having just having the server or having a tablet like this. The server would be nice. I think if I go to like a fancy restaurant, I want to deal with a server, right? I
Yeah.
want that kind of interaction. The like I especially if I want them to explain like, oh yeah, how do you cook this? What's this? What's all included in this? In case of food allergy. Um, but like for big chains that you already know what's in it, you've probably had it before, or you could just look it up online. I think the tablet or the QR code is a good alternative, especially since some people are still or some places are still um like not exactly locked down, but they're still being trying to go with contactless as much as possible. Um, but I understand that there's reasons to go like all the different ways with this, and uh overall I think the innovation's good.
Because there, well, because I agree with that point, because there are detractors of this, and you can look up this and read this piece for yourself also by Washington Post. Because currently there are many different sides to this, as well as some people, rather, let's say the older generations, like a in-person approach, because they don't really trust technology as much as the younger generations do. And just to quote someone in this article named Alex Susskind, Associate Dean for Academic Affairs at Cornell School, because that his point also coincides with the amount of chip shortages, as there's already a shortage of people that want to do just dining work in general.
I was about to
So
say something about that. Yeah, there's a shortage of people, especially in like the food industry, there's lines across. Like I was driving by, it was a Burger King or McDonald's or something like the other day, and the lines were like so ridiculous that people just like you could see people pull up and then just leave. They were like, "This is ridiculous." They would just leave the line as for fast food or whatever inside. Or um, I'm not opposed to that because um I think fast food is not exactly a healthy choice. And if they lose profits on this, or if they decide, oh, we should make a change here, not only for the food they serve, but also the way they treat their employees, I think it's not. I think overall it's not a bad thing. So if they can't get chips or if they can't get employees and they suffer, I think overall end up in a bad, or not in a bad way, in a good way, like just being able to like mitigate some of the, and like you can go to a sit down restaurant, like there's plenty of restaurants out there that are suffering.
Hmm. That
um
was the whole rundown of the beginning of COVID. It was like, please support your local restaurants. You had the nice, kind of
exactly.
funny ad by Uber Eats with what's his name, Mike Myers and Cardi B, which was random, but it happened. It was just like, order out, use Uber Eats, which
Right,
well, I don't
right.
recommend Uber Eats and all because I don't find Uber to be that trustworthy anymore after the PR's been all muddled lately.
Well,
But
there's alternative options. There's DoorDash, and there's a bunch of alternatives out there. But I think the overall point is we need to be supporting local restaurants
yeah,
and not these big chains
because
that might negatively affect uh the health of the people, and the workers are mistreated, and all that.
because I'll end this story by talking about what else this Alex Susskind says, as he still finds that plenty of people are still not yet comfortable with contactless ordering and saying it takes away from a restaurant experience, end quote, as it would be a mistake for restaurateurs to try to replace service. It's a slippery slope. Next, you'll be cooking your own food, which is classic mainstream news threat baiting, where it's just like, well, what's next? Whenever you hear what's next or next, it's just projection. And 98% of the time projections are just completely not needed. And I think after 2020, probably the worst year that some of us Zoomers can say is that's pretty bad. We do not want more projections of negativity.
Yeah, feel that, and I think moving forward, we just I think we don't need to. I think we shouldn't focus on the negative here. I think we need to focus on the positive, and I don't expect any fancy sit down restaurants to be like, especially locally, like if they're not like huge franchises, to be like, hey, let's get on board with this QR code thing. I assume it to be with chains and like big, like close to monopoly kind of franchises,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't see it snowballing into, like if you're out like a fancy dinner date, I don't see it snowballing to those kind of places, which
I'm
is
not
where
gonna
you
go to a
really.
Morton's and they're gonna tell me to scan my phone
Right,
or
right.
a Bravo
Speaking of
where
monopolies,
I
let's go in. Did you have one more point there?
I was like, why are those the only like two fancy places I know? Like Bravo and
uh,
Morton's.
I hear you. I hear you. Um, don't worry. I'm sure you'll find some fancy places. You just gotta get out there and see the world, man. Um, but speaking of monopolies, let's get into our next piece on the targeting the big, what was it, lawmakers? They're targeting big tech.
Yeah, they're trying to have an overhaul of the antitrust.
I think
kind
this
of
is long
layout.
overdue. This is long overdue.
Yeah, very.
There have been these big companies that have been kind of like, I don't know if they've been skirting the monopoly or anti-monopoly laws for a long time just because they found all these workarounds. They have all this money they can, like, well, you know, maybe they're paying people off, maybe they're not, I don't know. But it feels like somehow they're getting around these laws that were put into place and just becoming bigger and bigger monopolies. They're just buying everything out. Especially, what are the big ones? Apple, Google, Facebook.
Amazon,
Yeah, Amazon. That's a big one.
because it seems like it's almost every year. Well, actually, multiple times back in 2020, or there's even one this year where they had an antitrust panel with those names in it, including Twitter, which I don't even want to give Twitter a spotlight at this point because Twitter is such a mess right now. Like, like I would. This is a sidebar, but I just encourage you all to just get off Twitter because it's not. I don't know. To me personally, I don't think there's many good uses for it anymore. Like it was fun 13 years ago when you would talk to celebrities about, I don't know, you're like going to the bathroom or something at the same time.
I've never seen the attraction like for Twitter. It was like, yeah, that's cool, but like you can't really send a lot. Like I've always wanted to like put huge like paragraphs of stuff on there, but like I'm like that's really not what it's for. So why do I even have one? I see it
Well,
as like
yeah.
I see it as good for gaming, like just if you're like trying to follow like games that are coming out and it's good for updates, or
Mhm.
like let's say you and your friends have a Twitter for like a guild or a clan or a team or whatever, and you're like, hey, we're gonna have a raid such and such, and they're just kind of releasing news to their members, just keeping them in the loop. I see it good for that, but I just don't see. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of a thing of the past, and it has minimal uses. So I don't know. I think people are just overzealous about Twitter,
Mhm.
and
Because
I feel
I
like
agree
people
with
just
yeah.
need to use it for what it's for. Those, I don't know, maybe those uses and a couple others. If you're really a big fan of something, then or a big fan of a game coming out or a movie, yeah, go ahead and follow it, but don't take it too seriously. Don't,
Like
don't live your day based on what's coming out on Twitter.
like just like doing what they call it doom scrolling on Twitter. It just didn't help anybody last year. I mean, granted, there's still again good reasons for Twitter as it helps also local businesses put out updates about their hours and their functionalities.
Right, right. So it does have
But
some good purposes, but I feel like people are just, I don't know. They're trying to make that their main source of media, which could probably give you a downward spiral.
yeah. Likewise, getting back to big tech, as
Right.
Twitter's not really big tech. If anything, it's lower form because
S-
it's
Small
just an
tech.
organized. I mean, it's just a overblown forum site. Like Quora is there. Wiki Answers might be gone, but Quora's still there. Maybe Quora will make a comeback as being like a talked about thing.
Let's
But
hope.
anyway, getting to this piece for a bit, as we're currently under the helm where Lena Khan, who's a staunch critic of big tech, it was recently named the chair of the FTC, and this was less than a week after the House of Representatives introduced a sweeping antitrust regulation to put towards negotiation and consideration. While that all can be good for just helping other companies just break out that big tech's been keeping a hold of for, I would say, the better part of 2, 3 decades. At the
I
same
hear you.
time, I'm wondering what's the right measure that can be put for big tech? As if you look at it right now, Jeff Bezos isn't exactly Mr. Popular anymore. Apple either, really, alongside Facebook, which has basically become a land for baby boomers to complain about stuff rather than
I thought you
children.
were about to say landfill. I'm like, close enough. Close enough.
Where
Um,
they can say all these conspiracy theories and the like, and it's just not a good space anymore for,
I
I would
rarely go
say,
on Facebook anymore. I use the Messenger, but that's about it. Like I'll go on there like once in a while just to accept friend requests, and I don't know. I'll scroll through it once in a while, but it's not really that big a thing anymore.
yeah, same here. Alongside, and then we have Google in big tech. Now, Mike, what is your overall take with Google right now?
Okay, so I'm a little bit of a Google fanboy. I love their software. I love their all their like they provide all this stuff for free, and all they ask is, "Can we see your data?" Now,
Can
because I'm a
we
fanboy, I feel
put
like a
your
little bit biased. I feel like I'm a little bit biased about this.
Can we use your upload pictures for our advertisements without telling you? Like, ugh.
For me, I don't care if they use my data. I am like, look, if this is how they make money, I'm fine with that. Now, the fact that they are a monopoly, I feel is kind of bad. Like, I think competition is good for industry. I think it pushes
Very.
innovation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think not only does it push innovation, it gives you options. Like if there's a feature that you don't like on some software, you can look elsewhere.
Yeah.
The way it stands right now, look, there's not really many places you can look elsewhere.
Like,
Uh,
to best play this out as with me and Google, I like Google more than Apple, and that's not really that much ground to say that, as I don't really like Apple ever since the iCloud hacks of 2015 and 16, which
isn't that
I
interesting?
would,
Don't they like? I'm sorry, but I gotta jump in here. Don't they like present themselves as like a really secure company?
yeah, and now
And
there's
then
ads recently for privacy.
yeah,
And
and then that kind of
to
just
me,
throws it out the window.
I always find that ad funny, where it's like, you've had so much privacy problems lately, like with the iCloud hacks happened in 2015, which got so many private pictures leaked, which I don't want to give a name for that because the names that the internet gave it's kind of inappropriate.
Right. Right.
But
We don't have to elaborate on that. We can just be like, hey, they were hacked. What do you got, Apple? What is this is what you said you were good at. What else do you got for us?
it's, once you give yourself a platform like Apple, where you have press releases where you have to pay $1,000 for iPad stand or $600 for wheels for your iPad, and you have all these cases come out where you make your phones in those sweatshops, and also you're not really letting other phone companies play ball.
They're also
As
taking away features. Like, didn't they take away the headphone jack?
they took away the headphone jack, I believe they were caught slowing down older Apple phones because the most common Apple phone I believe I got from a consumer report was still the iPhone 6S or SE, which those came out in 2014-15.
I hear you.
So people are starting to notice that I don't want to pay a whole paycheck for a phone that I don't know how to use and that they're probably scalping my data. So I'm kind of proud of people for doing that, but at the same time, part of me hates it when I drive by an Apple store and I just see everyone clamoring over $1,200 of
I feel like our money's
essentially a
spent
fancy
better
toothbrush.
elsewhere. I feel like people are just paying for a white phone, like or like
Yeah,
customization of, oh, I can get it into another color.
yeah.
They have all these colors and it's so pretty or something. I don't understand the draw. Um,
I don't either, because like I get how Apple was cool back when they made like back in the early days when they just made iPods and
well, they
iPod
were also
Nano
the first
Touch.
ones to come out with the iPhone, and people assume because of the first one out that they're better, and it's
That
not
they
always the
know this the
case.
best, which I don't blame that thinking. But at the same time, when I see reviewers online, they say, "Oh, this Chinese company's doing pretty well," or Android's starting to pick up again, or OnePlus. I hear good things about OnePlus, which is another Android company. Which shout out to OnePlus.com if you're interested in getting a non-big branded phone, not Samsung or Apple. Go to OnePlus.com.
How much are those? Like, what kind of
They're a
price
bit
ranges do they
cheaper.
have?
They're a bit cheaper. I
Are
would
they
say
like
they're about between
comparable?
400 and 750,
Oh,
with
so like
800
they're like
being like a
comparable to like
landmark.
your Galaxies and your um. So like they're pretty comparable to the other options. Okay.
Yeah,
And I
because
haven't looked into like phones a lot lately. I mean, didn't like Google have a phone as well?
rightly
And
so.
there's like the Windows phone, and I'm sure
Yeah,
they're comparable to that.
I had a Windows phone, and that's how aged it was. Because about 2, 3 years ago, they stopped making them because they didn't
They
get the
stopped
boom that
making
they
Windows
wanted.
phone?
Yeah, they just didn't get the boom that they were getting out of them.
That's kind of sad because I feel like that would have some promise. Just um promise for innovation and anti-monopoly and just pushing things forward. Like I feel like that would also put some more um like flexibility when you're using like going from PC to your phone.
Hmm.
So I hope they bring that back. Um and just they need it. What they need is they need like a catching point, something that brings in features people would like buy the phone for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I mean, I'm 22 years old. A fancy camera or just adding 6 cameras to one phone isn't gonna surprise me. I mean, I took photography class, but I barely take pictures of myself. I'm a single guy. Like, I don't take pictures all the time. Like, I can't
I
dignify
feel
what
that
everyone else
as
does,
a
but
guy, I'm not out there taking 100 pictures, so the camera is not going to get me to buy a phone.
so like I saw the
I
Samsung S21 ad the other day where I don't know, it's like a bunch of millennials stuck in the desert or something in South Africa, and they mentioned how good good the excuse me, I was getting a call
That's okay. So
about
they were focusing on how good the camera was and not its other features.
it's like I
Does
can't
it
care.
does
I
it
can't
feel like
care.
they've does it feel like they've run out of ideas
I wonder if there's a stagnation currently with phones as
to like let's just add a camera, make it a little bit faster, and say it has more battery life. That's
like
what I feel like
look
the go to is.
look at this battery. Wow. It's better than that fruit named company. Wow. Where's Samsung? We have Android 11.0 coming out, guys. Look out. But
Yeah,
I've
I
learned from
feel like
that with
innovation's key. Looking
with
forward for phones.
yeah. But alongside that point, let's transition to software. Now you tell me
Sounds
about
good.
this. Tell me more about this Flashpoint that you read about recently.
So yeah, there's well, let's start from the beginning, kind of. So there's this thing called end of life. Have you heard of this? Where software is retired and is no longer supporting or no longer used. So Adobe has retired its Flash player, and as we know, Flash player is used for like a lot of Flash games that you play in a browser or online. And um, knowing that, I was like, how do I play like old Flash games I used to play when I was a kid? Sometimes I'm
Yeah,
like, I go back and I'm like, oh yeah, I don't know if you played it, Bowmaster Prelude. was one of my favorites.
I played the Stickman games. Those are
Oh,
on
the Stickman games. Oh, those are fun.
addictinggames.com. That was where Happy Wheels was on, I think, before
Yeah,
Happy Wheels took off as well. Oh, for
those
those who
were
don't know, Happy Wheels was a game that has it's a simple, beautiful premise, but it gets kind of gory, let's say. So
those were so fun, and I remember playing them in my childhood. I'm like, there's gotta be a workaround to be able to play these games again. So I did some research and I found this software called Flashpoint. It's a software. You go to Blue Maxima's flashpoint.com or something like that, and or no, it's bluemaxima.org, and you go to the Flashpoint Infinite, and you just download it. And after it's downloading, you install it, and then there's a search bar at the top, and you can just search for whatever game you want, and they have a lot of them on there. And if it's not on there, you can do what they call a curation, which is literally just download the game and putting it on their software so that other people can play it as well. So and you can play it in their software. It's kind of like similar to Steam, like except for you don't have to pay for anything. It's all free. Um and it's like any Flash game. So any Flash game you can there's on YouTube, there's a bunch of guides and demos on how to curate games that aren't on there already. So I definitely recommend you guys checking that out if you're into Flash games or uh, just looking for some free games to play.
because that's a good point, because it's with projects like Flashpoint that try to bring back life into the decommissioned Flash player, as the gaming industry right now isn't exactly on par with its audience right now, which we can talk about on another week because that's a huge topic in itself. What's wrong with the gaming
Of
industry right
course,
now?
of course.
But it just brings up more of the chances to innovate with projects like Flashpoint to show the dedication to just bring something back. And
Right, and just
and some is
keep things working even after an end of life or some a particular software. So it's always nice to see that. Um, yeah, check that out if you guys have a chance. And our next bit of software news is a leak for Windows 11. Do you want to get us started on the leak, or should I go into that?
so essentially, for those who don't know, we're currently in Microsoft Windows 10 on most PCs. There's a regular version and then there's a pro version. And nearing its near panel virtual event, rather, on the 24th, there was a leak that got released for Windows 11 as to what it exactly entails, which included screenshots that many people got the conference, and while the people in charge told them, like at many other conferences outside of tech, and then some, where they said, "Hey, can you please not share those screenshots?" And they're like, "You bet, buddy."
That's how leaks happen.
And then they just said, "Yeah, how many clicks can I get if I release this on my Instagram or Twitter or Wattpad?" Do people use Wattpad still? I don't know. But these these leaks happened earlier this week, and such screenshots were shared across the Twitter sphere. And I already gave my take about Twitter, so if you want to explore that, just look up hashtag Windows 11.
Well, the leak I saw was from Linus Tech Tips. If you guys want to check out his YouTube channel, I definitely recommend it. He's got some cool stuff on there. But
Really good.
he actually downloaded Windows 11. He got a leaked version onto a flash drive and booted it onto one of his builds. Um, so he did some just kind of like showing off the features. I think it's like pre beta or like alpha or pre alpha or something like that. It's really early on.
Let's say
Um,
pre-alpha.
pre alpha, yeah. And so he was just kind of showing off some of the features. and it's not super impressive. It kind of looks like, I would say, kind of like the Mac. They kind of took all the taskbar at the bottom, and they centered it and like cut off the ends.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which I'm not a fan of because I'm a fan of the old school layout. Um, I don't know. Some people might like it though. They also showed off some of the other features. They tried to run like uh what they did is they made another build with a VM so they could try some gaming. It looked pretty smooth. Although at these early phases, it's kind of hard to tell what's going to be included in the final build. But
Right.
so far, it's looking good. They I think they had the the monitor at like 60 frame or 60 hertz and the frame rate at 60. So I think it was low frame rate, but it still looks pretty smooth. Um, Played well. There didn't seem like a lot of lag, especially they were also showing off like the Windows load and stuff before they hooked up the video card with the VM. And there was some lag, but that's kind of the kind of stuff when when they click the Windows key and when they opened Windows and trying to drag them around and stuff, there was a little bit of lag. But that's the kind of stuff that um is done on your GPU. So some of that rendering might be fixed in the final build, or I'm assuming it will be fixed in the final build. There's a lot of new icons for like folders and applications and stuff that look clean. I would say it might be a little bit to get used to, but I think like the Explorer is like blue now and it's got some arrows on it. It's still like a file folder though. Um, what else do they have?
I have
Uh,
here the new features as a lot of the UI or user interface was leaked alongside in these screenshots with users like Jez Corden. And if you want to look at this piece I'm looking at right now, it's on hitc.com. And just look up Windows 11 new features about what this all entails. As he says, I have no idea how people can hate this. It looks effing amazing. A plus 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 design consistent with Xbox OS, which frankly isn't that great, but great stuff. And yes, you can left align the start menu. And these predicted new features, the piece goes on by saying it's going to have a cleaner looking settings app, which I don't know what that means, but it's just a gear wheel. While also, Microsoft has added rounded corners for the UI components to the system, which does make it look more like a Mac interface for those of you that can afford a MacBook. Which I don't want to.
I hear
I
I
don't
hear
want a
that.
MacBook personally, as well
I
as
feel like they're overpriced, a little bit
new,
overpriced for what they do.
rightly so, as well as new wallpapers and startup sounds. Which I don't know how
Being
many
a
people pay attention to that.
I think that will fly under the radar, and um, I think what we're really looking for is kind of like new iconic, just like features like that we haven't seen before. I I don't think they were showed off in anything I've seen from the leak so far. Even though this is like a pre-alpha build or something like that, I feel like this is what I want to see, and some futuristic ideals is what they need to be pushing, like VR. Like what kind of implementation with VR are they going to give us? What kind of features that push VR or just help out in with, like what if we could just use VR for, like, I don't know. What if there was some kind of capture device for like hand movement instead of a mouse? Or what if they could push VR and uh voice activation and AI? Like, just I want more voice activation features. I want more AI, just kind of like being able to say like a word and then have the OS just know what I want opened or what I want done. Um
It's because those are all good thoughts to put into a new Windows operating system interface. As
right?
Because it's all about condensing and also minimalism, as I've seen a lot of that go through with minimalist logos, even, which we can talk about in the future episode, as well
Yeah,
as just outlooks on anything in general.
right.
As like look at how our ordering system is. Sometimes you just have to say a number and they know what you want to have to eat.
I hear
And
you.
what if computing and doing Windows 11 is going to look like that? And summing that up, we'll learn more about this on the June 24th event once it's happened and everything's been released via Windows themselves, as some publications guess or assume that the Windows 11 update will be sometime this upcoming fall in October, as well as the price of Windows 11 home version being around $119, while the Pro version costing about $200.
And I think a lot of people are gonna be mad about the pricing. Like if
Very, yeah.
I feel like they promised us that Windows 10 was gonna be the last installment, and anything else is gonna be an update to Windows 10. So I feel like a lot of people are gonna be angry about this. I'm angry as someone that um works with a lot of different systems, and like even big tech guys that build PCs every day are like now have to buy a new or a new OS every time, and I don't know. I feel like anyone that already has it, or like I feel like all the OSs should be free from now on.
You can
Um,
have like pro features, like you can keep the
yeah,
pro version for like businesses and other related
there
people.
there should be
Because
special features for like pro or businesses that cost extra. They shouldn't be like here we have to buy the OS every time. It should be just the features that like special features that certain businesses like big businesses would want.
and that
I
they
think
can
that's what
utilize.
yeah, that can
Like I
utilize
don't want, yeah,
and
because
make
I don't want to get
their
into the vein of net neutrality and the divide in digitization that is prevalent still, but the versions could help as long as they make it focus solely on just this is what businesses could use.
I agree. I think
Because there's
that's the
already
way
a
they
big
should
pay
be
divide.
moving. I think that's definitely the way they should be moving.
And
Um,
speaking of great pays, tell me more about the GPUs that have been
well,
going
hold on
around lately.
before we wrap up that topic, I wanted to mention that in the video they did mention that the any developers would be able to develop for Windows 10 currently and have it work in Windows 11. So that's a nice feature. And they're also bringing back widgets. How do
Yeah,
you
that's
feel about widgets coming back? Is this
um,
something you like, something you don't like?
I remember them from Windows 8, and I'm wondering if they figured out widgets by now, as they were not popular back when they came out on Windows 8, which, for those who don't know, it was the order went from Windows XP 7, 8, not the 10, and 8 had such a not great perception that they immediately pulled together and just trying to make it 10 to just absolve 8 even happened. That's how bad the 8 release was.
See, I don't hate widgets. I just feel like they need to be implemented in a cleaner interface or a cleaner they need to have a cleaner look to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you like kind of make your own custom widgets or just there's like a bunch of software out there where you can like do some really cool stuff with just like so if you're on your desktop there's this one that allows you to put like a circular sound bar. So like it like shows like you know how when music plays it like the it'll like echo the beat kind of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's one where like you could like wrap it around features of your like desktop or like wrap it around like art that's on your just your background and like just make different shapes with it. And, like I feel like if widgets came back, you need functionality like that. You need to be able to do like it can't just be like a square box in the corner because that's kind of boring. Like, because like everybody kind of wants their own custom desktop, and I feel like they need to really push that to the next level if they really want widgets to come back. And if they do
Mhm.
this, I think more people would use them. I think right now widgets are kind of for like very basic things that are cool to have, but not exactly necessary.
Yeah, because the usability is important as well as the responsive design that could be prevalent with this release. As someone that uses this computer a lot, both in work and at home after work, because the computer itself has become like very vital for houses, almost more so than the TV, as the downfall of cable happened and everyone's now turning towards
The streaming,
internet contained services as well as
right?
streaming services and
Yeah,
online ordering, and businesses turn towards cloud storage rather than physical storage that take
agreed.
up like whole office spaces.
Yep, definitely on board with the moving towards streaming. And like I, for one, barely ever watch TV. I am a big fan of streaming, whatever, whether it's Hulu or Netflix or all that. I've completely transitioned. Like sometimes I'll go to the theater, and sometimes I'll watch a movie if it's a good one, if it's on TV, but very rarely. So yeah, I definitely see the transition there. So yeah, let's go and move into the hardware section, and let's go ahead and talk about the new release of the RTX 3070 Ti, which came out for quite a low price, with all the graphics cards being ridiculously high right now. This came out for like I think it was close to like 550 or 560, um for one of the, and I think this is like what, one or two generations behind the 3090. Um
I believe that's right. Because when they had the release of the super versions for the 2060 and 70 and 80s, those were, I believe, close to 1,000 some places.
right. So we were
I
very
was there at Micro
surprised,
Center where there were people just like upset that they ran out of the stuff.
and I can't believe like they're actually, you can actually get these, like you, it's not like you go to every website and they're out of stock. You can find them, and they
That's
are
what's
marked up
weird about
because
this.
a lot of them are scalpers right now, but like scalping prices aren't like huge. Like it's not like $1,000 markup. It's like $100 to $200 markup. So I'm surprised that these are in stock and like they're actually not bought out yet. Because like for the longest time, because of the chip shortage and miners and all
Hmm.
that, we haven't seen an in stock video card for the longest time. So is this the end of shortages? Is that what's happening? Are we
I
finally
wonder
getting?
because the chip shortage is supposed to run into at least end of next year until everything is fully stable to what it was before the pandemic, as chips aren't really being made again domestically in the US. Most of them are made in China and Taiwan, which
So
says a
maybe
lot
this is
about
the end,
industry, but I
or maybe
digress.
maybe this is the beginning of the end of the chip shortage.
The beginning, yeah,
And
I
that's
would say that.
I'm crossing my fingers because I want to buy some GPUs for mining and maybe some miners, and my brother needs a card, and so hopefully this is the beginning of the end
As
of
more people go into PC building, of course, as well as that increases tenfold, then
agreed.
the chip shortage coming back from not being a chip shortage but a chip, uh, uh, I say smorgasbord. I don't know.
I feel you. So
Then everything was
hopefully
stable
that's
again.
it, and we'll see some more, especially some more options, because like that's, it'd be nice to have that one, but I'd love to buy some of the high end ones or low end ones for cheaper. So hopefully those prices will go down soon as well. So yeah, the next section is security. and I think you said you were talking about a ransomware attack that was pretty recent.
Yeah, it attacked a Metro Health vendor, which compromised a lot of patient health data. And this
Ooh,
was
that's bad.
when it's critical. I mean, a ransomware attack is bad. We mentioned one or two of them already in this episode, but when it's health related, then it's very, very crucial.
All right,
So to
because
give a
this is
synopsis,
private data and um like people's personal data. That's a serious thing. Like if someone gets my private data about, I don't know, where I went to school or whatever, that's not as serious. But if someone gets my health data, that could be ransomed.
this piece, which you can find on news5cleveland.com, as the attack actually happened earlier this year, around February, as the breach was confirmed in February, and the attack compromised the data of more than 1.6 million patients, which includes full names, dates of birth, and prescriptions. Which, when you have that scope alone of data fields and relations with that, you can drive everything up to dangerous degrees, from overdosing people potentially to misplacing prescriptions to just identity theft, just to name a few cases. So,
And I think I if I remember this correctly, they kept using the company that was storing their data, right? It's like
Capture RX,
Capture
yes.
RX. Yes, that was it. I'm surprised they kept using the company. I'm surprised they didn't switch.
And this is another take on how big the scope is for everyone, is that other companies included alongside this that kept on getting used with Capture RX include Discount Drug Mart, Rite Aid, Giant Eagle, and Meijer, also being tied because they're also affiliated with Capture RX.
Yeah.
No specific details were provided, but it is still unclear, quoting the article, how many Metro Health patients had their sensitive data compromised.
Well, the good
But
news is they were notified um that the hack went down. So everyone got like their in their mail they got a notification. Um so everyone knows what happened and if their accounts were affected. So like hopefully those people that got the notification went in and changed if they had any login information or just were able to just you know change anything that was compromised.
rightly so, because to encircle this, Alex Hammerstone, a leading cybersecurity expert, took his take on this, where he mentioned how much different this is from other industry hacks, as when you share that data, the information ones that got compromised that I mentioned, with someone else like a hospital, it's only as secure as they keep it, the company. The health data is more valuable than credit card data. It is one of the reasons it is used in fraud, and it also allows fraudulent organizations to create profiles and bill insurance companies, the government, and get paid for it. So there's a lot of ties you can get with this, as like I said before, there's almost too high levels of too much trust established in third party companies when they get tied to something, and they just say, "Oh, please just let that through your antivirus. Let our software through." And that sort of thinking just paved the way for so much, as just alone per keepmeposted.com or .org, there has been a 152,967% increase in malware and computer exploits alongside data security and privacy subcategory incidents from 2019 to 2020.
Yeah, I was about to
So
say, when was that? So 2019 and 2020. So make sure you guys are doing your research. And what was the website again that you said you can look up?
you can
The
look up this story that I'm talking about, Metro Health, on news5cleveland.com. And for just tips and tricks on how to be safe from ransomware attacks, go to keepmepostedna.org.
All right, yeah, sounds good. So yeah, guys, check out those websites and stay protected. So for our last and final section, we have a company review. It's just a YouTube channel of this guy that goes in and refurbishes old laptops, and the channel is called Cat and Andrew. And the one of my favorites is uh one of his restoration mods and upgrades of an Alienware M15X that he did recently. And I gotta tell you, this is beautiful. Like, not only does he upgrade the hardware and fix any broken or not software, any like broken pieces on it, he goes in and does a full mod to the case, and he made it look. He kind of has like some gold and some black, kind of like paint splatter, but he also has this effect that looks like rainwater on there. So it kind of looks like it's got like like little droplets everywhere. Um, so it's like a gold and black with a little like clear, and I think he uses a clear based paint to make it look like it's wet all over. It's so cool. Go check it out.
Very
And yeah, and he's got some like dark red LEDs on the inside, I think. Or maybe did he just paint the grill red? I can't remember. But like the gaming experience on that, he was kind of showing off, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, this is before the even got the video card came in, and it just looks so smooth, and the contract looks great." So yeah, go check that out. You can watch the full repair and modification of the laptop. I think it's like a custom keyboard for it as well, and it's just really cool. It's a great channel, so go check it out, guys. It's a
and
heck of a lot of fun.
again, the channel is called Cat, like the pet cat, and Andrew, and you can find him on YouTube. And the video we're talking about is called Trash the Gold Alienware M15X Full Restoration.
Right on. So that's all we have today, guys. Thanks for coming out and taking the time to listen to our podcast.
Feel free to hear more from us in the future. And again, stay safe out there and be sure to love and care for everyone.
Exactly.
That's the best
All right,
advice I can give today.
right on. All right. Have a good one, guys. Peace.
Peace.